Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy. And in today's video, I am bringing you guys a breakdown of Todd McShay's 2021 NFL Mock Draft 2.0. I believe I went over 1.0 on this channel, but this is by far the most controversial mock draft I have seen. And by far the most controversial one that will be going down on my channel. Like the headline of the website says, trades run on quarterbacks highlight Todd McShay's 2021 NFL Mock Draft 2.0, and that is completely true. In this video, we're going to go over every single pick and give you guys my analysis of it. Now, Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, all these big guys that are NFL draft analysts, they're going to get things wrong. Just like I get things wrong when I talk about fantasy football, they get things wrong when they talk about the NFL draft. The meteorologists who are trying to figure out if it's going to fucking snow tomorrow, they get things wrong as well. Everyone gets things wrong. So again, before you come into this and you just absolutely toast Todd McShay, or you absolutely toast me and my analysis of some of these players, just remember that everybody makes mistakes and everybody has those days, as Miley Cyrus would say. If you do end up enjoying this breakdown of Todd McShay's mock draft, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I post NBA betting picks. I post NFL content, primarily an NFL channel, fantasy football. And we're going to be talking a whole lot about the draft as it approaches, coming up in April, just a couple months away now. So let's get into it. The first pick of the draft, Todd McShay selects the Jacksonville Jaguars, having Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson. To me, this doesn't deserve too much of a breakdown. It's obvious. Everyone's mocking Trevor Lawrence there. He's the number one quarterback coming into the draft, the best prospect according to most since Andrew Luck. So you just pick him at the 101. To me, there's no real thinking behind this. It's just too obvious. Whoever had the first pick, whether it was the Jets or the Jags, were going to go with quarterback Trevor Lawrence. So the Jaguars obviously have it now after the Jets kind of messed that up. So they go with quarterback Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. Nothing too important to note about this one. I'd give this an A+ if I was to give this a draft grade. And number 2, the New York Football Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU. Now, right now, we probably have the least idea what the Jets are going to do at this pick compared to some other teams, because to me, it's a 50-50 shot the Jets go with the quarterback or they go with offensive tackle Penei Sewell. Personally, I don't see the Jets going for a snazzy wide receiver. I don't see them going for a guy like Jamar Chase, a guy like Jalen Waddle, a guy like Devonta Smith, one of those kind of a players, right? And I don't really see them going defense. Now, obviously, Saleh, their head coach, their new head coach, is a defensive coordinator, or was defensive coordinator in the past, and is more defensive-minded, but they're not going to pick a defensive piece at this pick. So to me, it's either going to be Penei Sewell, or it is going to be one of these quarterbacks. Which one will it be? In Todd McShay's case, it is Zach Wilson, and I won't argue this pick at all. I think Zach Wilson is, in my opinion, the second best quarterback in this draft behind Trevor Lawrence. I've really liked Zach Wilson from what I've seen on his tape out of BYU. This guy is very athletic, much more athletically gifted than I feel like a lot of people give him the run for. Get it? Because the guy can run the ball, he can pass the ball, has a cannon of an arm. I really do like Zach Wilson, and this pick here makes a whole lot of sense. If I'm the Jets, personally, I'm picking Penei Sewell and giving Sam Darnold one final crack at it before we just draft someone else next year. But I'm not the Jets. I'm Notorious Fantasy, talking about Todd McShay's mock draft. And number 3, this is where it gets real spicy. The Carolina Panthers trade up with my Miami Dolphins to select Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State. Now, there's not much tape out there on Trey Lance from this season. Why? Because they only played one game. They did some bullshit where they played one game to make sure that he would get drafted high enough in the draft, so they play one game. I think they're playing actually later on in the spring in a couple of months, so that's very interesting. But Lance obviously won't be playing in those games because by the time the games start, he'll probably already be in the NFL. This is a very interesting spot here because the Carolina Panthers are a team that need a quarterback and are in the perfect kind of spot to select a quarterback that needs time to be groomed, needs time to be developed. Trey Lance coming out is not going to be a day one starter, at least in my opinion. I think Teddy Roosevelt, Teddy B, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starting quarterback for at least the first couple of weeks of the season, if not the whole first season of Trey Lance's career. He's just going to sit behind him, watch what Teddy B does, and then next season, in the 2022 NFL season, get jolted out there and have the opportunity to be great, kind of like Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith. If you want to put it that way, not saying Trey Lance is Patrick Mahomes, not saying Bridgewater is Alex Smith, but what I'm saying is that's the kind of scenario. I like Trey Lance a whole lot, but personally, if I'm trading up to make this pick, I want Justin Fields. I don't love Justin Fields as a talent. I think he does have multiple issues in his game, including really staring down wide receivers at times, but I do think that he's the better quarterback over Trey Lance, so personally, if I'm the Panthers, I'm moving up for this guy, especially to the number 3 spot. I want to make sure that I get Justin Fields, because even if Fields sits behind one more year, I think he would get even better, and that would be great for the Carolina Panthers. Let me know what you guys think about Trey Lance going number 3, trading with the Miami Dolphins so that the Carolina Panthers can select him. I think he's a good quarterback. I think it makes sense for the Carolina Panthers, but personally, I would have went with Justin Fields at that pick. At number 4, speaking of Justin Fields, we see the Atlanta Falcons select quarterback Justin Fields. Now, just like this says, right, Justin Fields kind of fell. A lot of people originally, this guy is the number 2 pick. This guy's the second quarterback off the board after he literally lit Clemson's ass on fire and danced on their grave. But then the Alabama Crimson Tide laid them down on the table and gave them the schmeating of the century. And now Justin Fields is sitting here at 4. Maybe he goes second pick. Again, we don't really know what a lot of these teams are thinking, but the Atlanta Falcons taking a quarterback makes a lot of sense. It seems like they really want to move on from Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is the old school NFL quarterback, the guy who stands in the pocket, can't really maneuver, right? He needs a cane to get out there. Justin Fields, this motherfucker is very athletic. He'll do anything with the ball, make a lot of athletic plays because he's that good, and I think this play makes a lot of sense for the Falcons, again, developing a quarterback, because I highly doubt that he would even start this season. At number 5, we see the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Penei Sewell, lineman out of Oregon. This is the perfect scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals. They need an offensive tackle. They need an offensive lineman. They need a left guard, a right tackle. They need pretty much fucking everything, if I'm being honest with you. Any of those guys could be replaced at this point based upon what we have seen. Now, I understand they did bring in someone early on a couple of years ago. They drafted in 2019, I believe, a tackle in the first round who seems like he's going to be good, but they need help. You can't have Joe Burrow die every year. We saw what happened to Patrick Mahomes. If your offensive line sucks and you have a flashy quarterback like Joe Burrow, like Patrick Mahomes, like any good quarterback is going to get his back blown out behind a bad offensive line. Joe Mixon struggled because the blocking was piss poor. Penei Sewell is a great step in that direction. If he falls this far, if the Dolphins trade that pick and they don't take him, I love this pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the first 4 picks were all quarterbacks. That is a very interesting take because we've never seen a draft go like that. At least off of my brain, I don't ever remember the first 4 picks of the draft being quarterbacks. There's always going to be some fucking running back or some receiver or some defensive player or offensive lineman that goes in the middle to break it up. But here in this case, we see 4 quarterbacks fly off the board, which is very interesting. Will it happen? To me, probably not. But that's why this draft is so under scrutinization, I would say, on Twitter. So many people are talking about it because of that reason. And I wouldn't say that it's completely out of the ordinary that that happens. I actually think it's less crazy that that happens versus something that happens later in this draft. You guys are going to want to stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'm going to talk about it later. I want to let you guys know. I want you guys to actually tell me what you think about 4 quarterbacks going inside of the first 4 picks. To me, it's a little bit insane in the membrane. At number 6, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU. They drafted Jalen Reagor last year. Widely regarded as an excellent talent out of TCU. He shows up there, and it's like the ghost of Jalen Reagor showed up. He didn't do anything. Is that because he was a bust, or is that because the Philadelphia Eagles cannot train these wide receivers? They just cannot make these guys go from their college to pro careers correctly. I don't know. Again, this says like Jalen Hurts is their quarterback 1. It appears like that. To be honest with you, I don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021. It would not surprise me if what was dubbed as the quarterback factory last year by the Eagles drafted a quarterback here. Now, obviously, in this pick, you're not going to be taking Mac Jones in the case of 4 quarterbacks going in front of you. But what I'm saying is the Eagles, to me, seem like anyone could be their starting quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is a fine quarterback, but Wentz is still on the team as of right now. Some rumors are saying 9-inch Nick Foles is going to come in. in that trade with the Bears to get rid of Wentz. So are we even sure Hurts is the quarterback? 9-inch Nick Foles is a movie. Life's a movie when you have fucking Nick Foles on the Eagles. So who knows, to be honest with you. I think Jamar Chase is a solid pick, but if I'm the Eagles, I'm drafting a cornerback. I'm drafting Patrick Surtain. I'm drafting Caleb Farley. I want a player that is going to be on defense because the Eagles' defense is not that good. We saw Darius Slay, who they brought in from Detroit, get absolutely cock-smacked by DK Metcalf. He was even talking about it on Instagram Live. It's probably one of the funniest clips on the internet. Him just talking about how DK Metcalf got him so angry and how DK Metcalf was just so big and he just couldn't do anything about it. It was hilarious. That's why I kind of disagree with this pick of Jamar Chase, because I think they need to worry about the defense a little bit more, and the offensive line is very worrisome for the Philadelphia Eagles. At number 7, we see the second wide receiver off the board, Devonta Smith, wide receiver of the Alabama Crimson Tide. We see the Heisman Trophy winner getting picked behind a guy who opted out last season, obviously having a tremendous 2019 season with Joe Burrow and LSU, Jamar Chase. Devonta Smith tore it up with Mac Jones in 2020, and I feel like this pick makes sense. The Detroit Lions are likely going to be without Marvin Jones. That seems like 100% done deal. If you watch Marvin Jones' press conference, he pretty much just flipped the double bird to the organization, said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. We done. Finito, and now it seems like the Detroit Lions are going to be moving in favor of getting Devonta Smith. Kenny Golladay is more up in the air to me, probably more 50-50 if he returns with Jared Goff. I think Devonta Smith is in a pretty decent place here. Obviously, a lot of Lions fans are going to criticize this. They want a quarterback. They want this. They want that. Right now, you're stuck with Jared Goff. So, hey, you get Devonta Smith at this spot. At number 8, my Miami Dolphins select Jalen. Waddled away, waddle, till the very next day. Bum, 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 bum. Wide receiver of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I like this pick for the Dolphins. Tua needs some weapons. He needs to be protected. He needs a condom over him, and he needs some weapons. If you guys watch this clip that I retweeted yesterday from Ian Hurts, I believe it was, this motherfucker, literally, he's throwing the ball, and it's just bouncing off these guys' hands. It's like these guys literally have no idea how to play football in the NFL. They're dropping everything. Jalen Waddle, while wasn't tremendous in the national championship coming off of an injury, has shown very much prowess and talent that he could be a pro-level wide receiver based on what I've seen in his college tape. I like this pick a lot. He seems like the third best wide receiver in the draft to me, so I'll happily take that as a Dolphins fan at 8. And number 9, the Denver Broncos select Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama. Surtain, excellent corner. The Denver Broncos building more on that defense makes a whole lot of sense. The Denver Broncos, when you think in your head, hey, they're a defensive team, and that's exactly what they're doing here. Now, right now, we don't really know who their quarterback is going to be. Are they going to move for someone else because they have Drew Lock right now? It seems like they wouldn't be picking Mac Jones here at 9, so they're going to pick a nice corner to add to that core of the Denver Broncos. I believe they released A.J. Bouye yesterday, so this is definitely a must-needed spot for the not for the Alabama Crimson Tide, for the Denver Broncos. Number 10, the Dallas Cowboys select Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. This was what I was talking about earlier. These two guys, Surtain and Caleb Farley, are the two big corners in the draft, at least in my eyes. The Dallas Cowboys need defense like Jordan Belfort needed fucking Quaaludes to work, to function. Like, literally, their defense sucks cock. Dak Prescott was putting the team on his back. Darren Sharper, hold my dick, the whole season long. And I genuinely, or for the whole couple of games he played, but it's unbelievable. The defense was getting the back blown out, okay? They were playing bad. The defense is good, somewhat, compared to what I thought they would be, but they were still getting fucked. They really stood no chance. I think the Dallas Cowboys here need to draft defense, and if they don't, and they draft someone else, I would be shocked. At number 11, we see the New York Football Giants select Kyle Pitts, tight end out of the Florida Gators. I like that pick a lot. The Giants adding a tight end that can actually catch. Evan Ingram, interesting enough, could be kind of compared to Kyle Pitts because they came into the NFL both being such highly touted prospects, both athletic freaks. Evan Ingram, apparently, though, doesn't have any hands, so that's going to hurt him. It's like he's playing like fucking JPP with 7 fingers out there. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know. Kyle Pitts just seems very good now there's no excuses for Daniel Jones. If he can't perform next season with this set of wide receivers, even if the receivers aren't amazing, Kyle Pitts is a legitimately amazing day one starter for the New York Football Giants. I love this pick for the Giants. At number 12, the Chicago Bears trade with the San Francisco 49ers and select Mac Jones, quarterback of the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is the pick I was talking about that makes it even more controversial. I think Mac Jones is a very good player. If you follow fantasy football Twitter, I even had a discussion about this today, and people brought it up. The fantasy community fucking hates Mac Jones compared to what the NFL scouts think. So, this makes me believe that Mac Jones is going to be like a top 18 pick. I was just confused as to why the Bears would trade up for him if it seems like the Bears are going to get Wentz, if it seems like Mitchell Trubisky isn't necessarily that bad. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think about that pick, the Bears trading up to get Mac Jones. I find that very interesting. Since I think Jones is a decent fit for the Bears, I just worry about why they're fucking moving up for him when they already have Mitch, right? Just use him one more year and see what you got out of him. At number 13, what they should have done, actually, if you're the Bears, you should have fired Ryan Pace. You should have fired Matt Nagy, and then this pick makes sense. But right now, to me, it kind of doesn't. At number 13, the Los Angeles Chargers select Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. This is a great pick. Protect the franchise quarterback in Mr. Justin Herbert, the pervert. There's not too much to break down about this when we talk about offensive linemen getting drafted. You want to make sure you protect your guy. Not a reach. Slater seems like he could be a top 8 pick, so great value here for the Chargers. At 14, the Minnesota Vikings select Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman out of the USC Trojans. I like this pick again. Protect the quarterback. Make sure. But actually, I like the pick because you can't actually judge someone for picking an offensive lineman unless it's like a reach. Vera Tucker seems like he's going to be a first-round pick, so I can't really judge. But what I will judge is the fact that I feel like the Vikings need more defense, and I think that drafting a defensive player here overall would be better for the team than drafting Elijah Vera Tucker. At 15, the New England Patriots select Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State. There is questions about Micah Parsons doing the dirty, you know, he was doing some bad things, hazing-wise, like he's in a frat or something for the Penn State Nittany Lions, but seems like the NFL scouts don't give a rat's ass about that, so it's not going to actually matter. Just something interesting to note. The Patriots getting a great player to fall to him makes me angry as a Dolphins fan. At number 16, we see Greg Rousseau, edge rusher out of the Miami University, the Miami U. It's all about the U. To the Cardinals, I like this pick. The Cardinals defense does need to expand and get much better. I would be interested, though, in seeing the Cardinals. For some reason, this is just a wet dream. It makes no sense, right? But imagine, put this in your brain. Imagine the Cardinals, they cut Kenyon Drake, get the fuck out of here. They don't re-sign him. They bring in Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, and he's what we thought Kenyon Drake would be. Would have been beautiful. But the pick does make sense considering the Cardinals do need some more edge rushers. At 17, the Las Vegas Raiders select Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa, linebacker, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who got their shit clapped by the Alabama Crimson Tide in the college football playoffs. The Raiders adding defense makes sense. It'd be funny, though, if they drafted another wide receiver, because that seems like something they would do. They made some bad picks last year, but they're looking to bounce back in 2021. At number 18, my Miami Dolphins like Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of Miami Hurricanes. Both of the U edge rushers come off at 16 and 18. As a Dolphins fan, I don't know. I would honestly prefer them, as a Dolphins fan, to draft two wide receivers. Call me crazy. I don't think we need another edge rusher. Like, the Dolphins' defense is good. I understand. Flores is a defensive-minded head coach, so it makes sense. And it actually does make sense that this will actually happen, but as a Dolphins fan, I would love to get a guy like Tony. Just add some more wide receivers, Rondell Moore, something to help Tua out. At 19, the Washington football team select Kadarius Toney, wide receiver, Florida Gators. He's a guy that's going a little bit under talked about, obviously, because those big three guys, Waddle, especially the big two, Jamar Chase, as well as Mr. Devonta Smith, are going to get all the sung praises. Sing it like this arms out to the holy. That's what people are singing the praises of. These guys that are lower down, Tony, Rondell Moore, all these other guys that aren't going to get talked about as much, but I do really like this pick for the Washington football team to get a guy outside, or to get another guy to match with Mr. Scary, F1 Terry McLaurin. The Washington football team did re-sign Tyler Heineke to a 2-year, $8 million deal, which is pretty cheap for a guy that proved to be pretty good last year, at least in the playoffs up against the Buccaneers. So I do like that move for the football team. At 20, the Niners trade with Chicago, obviously from earlier. Trayvon Moring, safety out of TCU. The 49ers defense may be collapsing like Eminem feeling these raps. I honestly think that the 49ers do need to draft some more defensive players. They really need a quarterback, but it seems like they're going to try to trade away Jimmy Guap. So I do like them drafting a safety here. It seems like the Niners are a very strong defensive team, and this adds even more to it. At 21, we have the Indianapolis Colts letting Kwity Paye, edge rusher out of Michigan. The Colts are a team right now without a quarterback. A team that should have brought in Tom Brady last year, and they didn't. Probably would have won the Super Bowl. Probably. But what am I to say? It just seems like Tom Brady brings a Super Bowl everywhere, and I don't even like the guy. I'm a Dolphins fan. Of course I don't like Tom Brady, but that guy was drunk off of his ass yesterday, and it was probably some of the funniest internet stuff we've had in a while. Kwity Paye going to the Indianapolis Colts makes a lot of sense. Build more on this defense. Get a nice edge rusher out of Michigan. Arguably the best edge rusher in the draft. Number 22, the Les Titans select Azeez Ojulari, linebacker out of the Georgia Bulldogs. I like this pick. The Titans defense sucks cock. We saw it get exposed in the playoffs, and adding a defensive player to this at any part of the unit makes a whole lot of sense, so I like the Titans there. At 23, the Jets reach up and select Travis Etienne, running back of the Clemson Tigers. Now, I only say this is a reach because it seems like no running back will go in the first round. At least based off what I'm looking at, I feel like Harris and Etienne will fall into the second round, but the Jets get their guy. Le'Veon Bell burned them at the stake like they were in the Salem witch trials. So now it appears that the Jets want to get a good player that they thought Le'Veon Bell was maybe in Travis Etienne, build more of this offense with Zach Wilson. Makes a decent amount of sense, but I would not judge them drafting more defense because, again, they need more defensive pieces. At 24, Christian Darrisaw, offensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. Go Hokies. Shout out to Mike. The Pittsburgh Steelers here, they would be in an interesting spot for a guy like Najee Harris, an offensive line that is built to protect a running back, but now they're protecting even more. They're making sure Big Ben doesn't need a fucking another one of those, what are they called? Those like leg braces. Doesn't need another cast around his leg after getting tackled, because that seems like what Big Ben needs at the end of every single game. At 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars building back the Saxonville Jaguars. Levi Onwuzurike, defensive tackle out of Washington. Shout out to the Huskies. Sorry if I pronounce these guys' names wrong. Again, I'm going to go and do a bunch of research and listen to these guys' names a bunch of times, because when I watch film on any of these players, on any of these teams, I legitimately never listen to what they are saying. I like to listen to music while I break down the film and look at it. So the Jaguars building more defensive pieces makes sense. That defense got absolutely dismantled like the establishment in SpongeBob. At number 26, the Cleveland Browns select Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. Would have been interesting if they picked an offensive lineman here. Jalen Mayfield does not seem like necessarily would be the pick here, so I guess there wasn't too much there for them to pick, but I do like the pick of Zaven Collins. Add more to a defense that was unimpressive compared to what I thought they would be coming into the season. At 27, J.C. Horn, the third big cornerback, even though he's kind of cucked outside from Surtain. But at the end of the day, J.C. Horn does look very good out of the Cox. The Baltimore Ravens, they need a wide receiver, though. They do. Their defense is pretty decent. I get why they would draft them. There really wasn't anyone here at the wide receiver position that's really screaming out to me, but I mean, like, what the fuck's Lamar supposed to do? Like, I hate on Lamar sometimes because it's like the guy's not making these accurate passes, but he's also throwing to these fucking clowns. At 28, the New Orleans Saints select Jalen Mayfield, Baker Mayfield's brother, not actually, offensive lineman out of Michigan. They drafted Cesar Ruiz last year. Some people are hating on Cesar Ruiz, especially Saints Twitter. Man, oh man, during some of their games, you're seeing this guy's name like he's fucking Julius Caesar. Like they want to stab him 57,000 times. I think this is a decent pick. famous Jameis seems like he's going to be the guy there. Eat a W. I like this pick for the Saints at 29. The Green Bay Packers select A.A. Ron Robinson. His cornerback out of UCF. Fitting. A.A. Ron Jones, A.A. Ron Rodgers, and A.A. Ron Robinson joining the team. They love them A.A. Ron's discount double check. State Farm, not sponsored. Shout out to Geico. 15% or more. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. I don't know. This seems like kind of a reach. But is it really a reach when you need the position because guys are leaving? The corners are running the fuck away from the Packers. That King guy seems like he could not stop me running at him. Like I could fucking break that guy's ankle. So it does make a lot of sense. At 30, the Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills select running back out of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Najee Harris. Love this pick. Devin Singletary sucks. Zach Moss sucks. You bring a guy in to make this offense even better. Wet dream for the Buffalo Bills fans. They will be jumping straight through tables that are on fire when they see this pick come across their board. If it doesn't end up happening, at 31, we see the Kansas City Chiefs select Joe Tyron out of Washington. 2 Washington boys going at the back of the draft. Makes sense. Outside linebacker. Bring in more defense. Bada bing, bada boom. Defense got fucked by Tom Brady. But the offensive line was bad. But also, you have to kind of think it's on the injuries. It's not on the normal starters because they weren't in. Patrick Mahomes got his shit fucked in. He was getting his back blown out like his name was Riley Reed. So at the end of the day, I think this is an all-right pick, adding more to the defense because the defense does need help as well. Final pick of the draft, the Super Bowl winner, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Bay Tom Brady select Christian Barrimore, defensive lineman out of Alabama. To me, the fact that Christian Barrimore will fall this far is going to wreak havoc again. That defense was amazing in the Super Bowl, amazing in the playoffs, and I worry for other teams in the NFC if they add Barrimore to this defense. This guy literally ate Justin Fields for breakfast, lunch, dinner, second dinner, and dessert, literally in the national championship. So this is a very good pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me know what you guys thought about this mock draft. Let me know if Mr. Todd McShay was kind of off the henny, maybe like Leonard Fournette at the parade yesterday. If you guys saw, he was making some wild tweets. Lenny on the henny, playoff Lenny. Let me know if you think that McShay, stone cold sober, didn't say anything crazy, just purely normal, just 4 quarterbacks go in a row at the beginning of the draft. That's pretty fucking normal. Not really. But let me know what you guys think. I love you all. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Subscribe for more NFL content, some NBA content as well. Fantasy football is the center around this channel. But we're in fucking February. We're not in June where I'm going to post fantasy football every single day. I post video every single day. But it's going to be about a variety of topics. So have a great rest of your guys' day. I do love you all. As always, stay safe. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Goodbye. Oh, and happy Thursday. Very nice.